Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back to the game preview of our upcoming Premier League fixture against Leicester City at the King Power Stadium. Now I'm doing this as a video, haven't done a game preview as a video for quite some time. Usually do them obviously as live teams, however I am currently away, so I had to do this one as a video. I've had to pre-record it, but we're still going to be going over the predicted start 11 and we're still going to be talking about the game in great depth as well, obviously about Marco Silva, because I think he's a big talking point regarding Everton Football Club, certainly over the last couple of weeks or so, given the poor run of form that we've been on and given the absolutely atrocious result against Norwich last time out. Obviously, having said that, we're playing Leicester on Sunday. Massive game for Marco Silva. I think Marco Silva accounts himself as really, really lucky to be in charge of this game. I think if he'd been manager of a lot of clubs in this league, he would have been sacked straight after the game against Norwich. However, he is manager of Everton Football Club, and we all know our board don't like to do anything in any sort of quick fashion whatsoever. So they've come out and they've said that he's going to be in charge of this game. You know, they've made that decision and they haven't communicated it properly. I don't feel like with the fans, but they've made that decision, and Marco Silva is going to be in charge. Regardless of what we like, whether we like it or not. So I'm going to go through my predicted starting 11. Of course, we're going to preview the upcoming game. You know, needless to say, it's a massively tough fixture. Not only with it being Leicester at the King Power Stadium, which is notoriously a tough fixture every single season. Obviously, you know, last season we went there and we got a 2-1 victory. Gylfi Sigurdsson providing an absolutely fantastic goal to win us that game. But, you know, if it wasn't tough enough already, Leicester are in absolutely fantastic form. They are flying this season. They really, really are. Second in the Premier League, currently above Manchester City. They've won 9, drawn 2 and lost 2. They've got 29 points and they've won 5 of their last 5 games. So they're absolutely on fire. I watched the highlights of their game last weekend and I can't believe the pace they've got, the counter-attacking presence that they've got, and actually how strong they are defensively as well. So it's needless to say this is going to be a massively tough game for Marco Silva and a massively tough game for Everton. You know, even taking away obviously the fact that, you know, a lot of fans feel that Marco Silva shouldn't be in charge, and that for me, I think the atmosphere is going to be not fantastic from the away fans, obviously, because as soon as something goes wrong at the weekend, you're going to get a lot of away fans on the back of Marco Silva. And I think the start 11 something that Marco Silva has to get, you know, really spot on. Otherwise, fans aren't even going to give him past the first minute on Sunday. So anyway, having said that, we'll go straight into my predicted starting 11. Of course, I've gone for Jordan Pickford in goal. Of course, like, you know, as we usually do, Jordan Pickford keeps his place. I've gone for the change back four. Now, this is something I wouldn't do personally, but I just feel like Marco Silva's going to do. I really feel like Marco Silva's going to do this. And that change back four is, of course, Luca Dean at the left. As per usual, that won't change. I've gone for Michael Keane coming back in for Mason Holgate. Now, Mason Holgate didn't have a fantastic game on Saturday. I actually think he really struggled. I said in the game review of the Norwich game, it felt like a performance from Mason Holgate that he would have put in before he went out on loan to West Brom. A performance that, you know, one of those performances that it was a little bit immature. It was a little bit naive. It wasn't as strong. It wasn't as calculated as his recent performances have been. Having said that, I personally would keep him in. I don't think he deserves to be taken out on one bad performance. For that one bad performance, he's performed well 3 or 4 times recently. I think he's been our best centre-half, arguably, over the last couple of weeks, so I wouldn't take him out, but I just have this feeling that Marco Silva's going to see that one bad performance and think, right, you're not ready, you're not good enough, you've had your chance, and, you know, yet you played well for a couple of games, but now you've blown it, so you're coming out. Michael Keane obviously was our starting centre-back at the start of the season. He's a player that's cost the club a lot of money, a player that will be on a lot of money per week as well, so I can't help but think Marco Silva will do whatever he can do to fit players like Michael Keane in the squad, and I don't think he needs a second reason to take players like Mason Holgate out. I would absolutely love to see the back four remain the same. I would love for Mason Holgate to stay in that starting 11 because I don't think he deserves to be taken out, but I just think that Marco Silva's going to do that. I've gone for Yerry Mina next to him, of course, again. Yerry Mina didn't have a fantastic game at the weekend. I think he made a couple of silly mistakes, but who else have we got realistically, let's be honest. And then I've gone for Seamus Coleman on the right, and very similarly to the situation with Mason Holgate, I can't help but feel that Djibril Sidibe is going to be taken out of the team because obviously he didn't have a fantastic game against Norwich. Now, don't get me wrong, Djibril Sidibe was poor last weekend. I don't think he deserved to be taken off halfway through the game in a game that we were getting beat 1-0 in. I don't really see why making a substitution of right back for right back makes any sense, but we've spoken about that on numerous occasions since the match. But I just feel like Marco Silva's going to take him out. Now, I can't help but feel like he's going to revert back to the usual back four, Seamus Coleman being in there and Michael Keane being in it. And for me personally, I just think that's totally the wrong decision. I really do think that's totally the wrong decision. I wouldn't have Mason Holgate coming back in because I wouldn't have, Michael Keane coming back in, because I just don't feel like Mason Holgate's done an awful lot wrong. And I also wouldn't have Seamus Coleman back in, because again, very similarly, yes, the performance by Jabil Sidibe against Norwich wasn't good enough. Yes, it was poor. Yes, it could have been a lot better. But his performance against Southampton the week before the international break was absolutely fantastic. He provided the assist for the winning goal, and I think overall he played really, really well in that game. But I just can't help but feel Marco Silva will want to play the players that, he seems to trust, and the players that he thinks have got the most experience. And we can sit here and we can talk about competition and we can talk about form, but it doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence in the right back situation, considering Jabil Sidibe only had to have a poor 50 minutes of a game, and he was taken off in a game that realistically should he have been taken off in. Was he the worst player on the pitch in an Everton shirt? No, he wasn't. Could we have made that substitution? Could we have used that substitution in a better way and bringing on a Moise Keane or bringing on a more attacking player? Yes, of course we could. So I just don't think Marco Silva's going to keep the same back four, especially after the performance. I think he's going to change it about, and I think he's going to revert back to the usual back four that started the Premier League season. And let's be honest, didn't perform well. Seamus Coleman hasn't performed well all season, and Michael Keane hasn't performed well all season. But I just feel like Jabil Sidibe and Mason Holgate are going to get the chop. Going into midfield, I've gone for the midfield three of Tom Davis, Morgan Schneiderlin and Alex Iwobi. Now obviously there's not a lot of midfield options. I think Tom and Morgan Schneiderlin will keep their places in the midfield. I think the only change he'll make is Sigurdsson being brought out for Alex Iwobi. I think he understands himself that there will be absolute uproar if Alex Iwobi doesn't start this game. At the weekend you're playing a side like Leicester who are going to come with a lot of pace, they're going to come with a lot of power, and they're going to come with a lot of attacking prowess, and they've also got quite a tight-knit midfield. They've got quite a tight-knit defence as well. And I think, there was massive calls for Alex Iwobi to have started the game on Saturday. And, obviously when he come on, he was seen to provide a lot of movement. Yes, he didn't do an awful lot. Yes, he wasn't fantastic on the ball. But for me, Gylfi Sigurdsson, without trying to dig him out, without trying to personally go for him, Gylfi Sigurdsson was so poor last weekend. He was, let's be honest. He was absolutely dreadful. As were a lot of the players. Let's not just pick him out. Sidibe was poor, Dean was poor, Schneiderlin was poor. But Gylfi Sigurdsson really didn't provide anywhere near enough creativity to warrant him staying in this team. And for me, that's why I think Marco Silva will have seen that, and hopefully will have seen that, and will have gone with Alex Iwobi in the 10. And for the front three, I've gone with Richarlison on the left, Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the middle, and Moise Keane on the right. Again, similar to the situation with Alex Iwobi, really. I think, Marco Silva knows now that he's got to win the fans back. He knows that he's lost the fan base. He really does. You only have to, hear the crowd singing you're getting sacked in the morning, Evertonians singing you're getting sacked in the morning. That's something I've never ever witnessed at Goodison Park. It's something I've never ever witnessed as an Evertonian, as, our own fans turning that much on the manager. So I think that, the manager knows now that he's got to at least attempt to win fans back. Now, it could be virtually impossible. It could be impossible. We might never win him back. And for me personally, I still think he's not the right man for the job, and I still think he needs to leave. But he's certainly going to have to be seen to be doing as much as he can to try and win the crowd back. And I think the crowd have been massively screaming for Moise Keane to come in. And I think it's about time that Moise Keane comes in, to be honest with you. He's a young lad. He'll have got a lot of confidence on getting those couple of goals for Italy under-21s in the international break. He wasn't involved at all last weekend, which I think is absolutely shocking, especially considering you're making a substitution right back for right back when there's no injury involved and there's no need to do that. And you've got a lad who, was lacking confidence anyway, getting a couple of goals for his international team. Obviously gaining a little bit of confidence through that, and you're not even making him involved in the team. I think, again, it's another situation that Marco Silva will look at and go, right, well, okay, if I start with the likes of Moise Keane, if I start with the likes of Alex Iwobi, then at least the fans can't criticise the starting 11 from the off. And I think he'll go with Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Now, again, very similar to, Gylfi Sigurdsson. Like I said, I'm not going to pick him out personally. Cenk Tosun didn't do anything against Norwich. He really wasn't involved anywhere near enough. And I think for a player that's probably going to leave the club in January, I don't really see why we're starting him in games of football, especially if he's not creating. Yes, he deserved this opportunity against Southampton. He had an assist and a goal in the previous week, but once he really wasn't involved in the game against Southampton, for me, he shouldn't have started the game against Norwich. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's our leading goal scorer this season. I think he scored 5 goals, and I really don't see why he was taking out the team anyway. He's been performing really well recently, and for me, Dom more than deserves to be put back in this team. He's the player with the most attacking threat going forward in that number 9 position, and he's the player that scored the most goals, so why would he not be in there? And I think, again, that's something that Marco Silva's going to look at ahead of this game. Obviously, Richarlison takes his place on the left, pretty self-explanatory. He's our most dangerous player, isn't he? Let's be honest, he's our most dangerous player, and he's a player that, we're going to need to have in the starting 11 if we've got any chance of getting anything out of this game. So yeah, that's my predicted starting 11. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments section down below. Do you agree with what I've said? If you do, let me know. Do you disagree? If you disagree, then let me know your thoughts. Like I said, that's just my predicted starting 11. It's not necessarily the starting 11 I personally would go with, because I wouldn't take Jabril Sidibe out and I wouldn't take Mason Holgate out on the basis that they've had one poor game, but I just feel like Marco Silva is going to do that. So let me know your thoughts on that starting 11 in the comments section down below. Listen, needless to say, this is going to be a massively tough game for Everton. It's going to be a massively important game for Marco Silva. Now, like I said at the start of the video, Marco Silva is going to see himself as very lucky, or should certainly see himself as very lucky to still be in a job, and very lucky to still have the Everton job, because for me, if it was up to me, and if it was up to, I dare say, a lot of you, he would have been, you know, sacked on the spot after that Norwich game, because the performance, the result, the substitutions, everything about that day was just not good enough whatsoever and warranted them being sacked. But he's not being sacked. The board have waited on it. The board have sat on their hands. They've looked around. They've tried to ignore it. And now he's going to take charge of the game against Leicester. And for me, it's a situation where, you know, we go to the King Power on Sunday, and if we're beaten and then the board make that decision to sack him after that game, why didn't he just do it a week before? And I think this is where we start after looking at the board now. I said it in Wednesday's live team. I think we have to start looking at the board as to why they haven't made that decision, because, you know, we can sit here and we can criticise Marco Silva's team selection, we can criticise Marco Silva's tactics, we can criticise Marco Silva's substitutions, but when he's made those substitutions and he's had such a poor day at the office, and you're looking and you're going, right, he needs to be sacked, and we've got all that emotion and we've got all them issues with him, that's fair enough on the Saturday, you know, and even on the Sunday. But when you get into the Wednesday, you know, it's not Marco Silva's fault he's still in a job. He's still in that job because of that board, and this is where we have to start looking at the board now and saying, well, what are you doing? How can you genuinely sit there at Goodison Park and watch what we've just watched and say, you know what, that's fine, that's acceptable. That is the type of performance that is going to keep us out of the relegation zone, because if we keep performing like that, and if we perform like that against the side that have banging form, arguably the most informed team in the league. Well, they are the most informed team in the league. They've won 5 out of the last 5. You know, the second in the Premier League. A team that, for me, are gonna get Champions League football. I'll say it now. They're definitely gonna get Champions League football. How can you even fathom that performance against Norwich would be anywhere near enough to get anything out of a game against a side like Leicester City, who are in fantastic form at the minute? It just doesn't make any sense for me, and this is the first game in what is an absolutely atrocious run of games for Everton Football Club. We now play Leicester twice within a matter of 2 weeks. We play Liverpool, we play Arsenal, we play Manchester United, and these are all games that we could very easily lose. And on the current form and given the current side and the current performances and the current tactics, I would, more than assume that we're probably going to lose. And if we come out of December with little to no points, possibly even no points out of the fixtures that we've got, and we're sitting there on Christmas Day near in the relegation zone, possibly even dropping into that relegation zone, depending on how the other teams do around us. We know Norwich are going to get a lot of confidence from their result last week, and we know Norwich can play well when they do play. I really don't know how they can back Marco Silva if that is the case. The only thing I can think is what they're trying to do is leave him in there over this tough period, basically understand that he's going to be sacked anyway, and then sack him after the period, and then whoever the new manager comes in with a run of fixtures that are a little bit more winnable, rather than bringing in a new manager now and really dropping them in a load of lava and saying swim, because if you bring in a new manager in at the minute, you're giving them a real tough run of fixtures to start off with. But for me, I just don't know if we can afford to leave Marco Silva until after Christmas, possibly be in the relegation zone, and then bring a new manager in, and there's no guarantee that whoever that new manager is going to be able to get us out of that rut. And if they can't get us out of that rut, then we're in serious trouble coming towards the end of the Premier League season, and I just don't think that we want to be there, to be honest with you. I really don't. But that's the decision the board have made, and you know what, we wouldn't really know the decision the board have made, would we? Because we're finding out from third-party, fourth-party sources that Marco Silva's going to manage the game on Sunday. We're finding out that he's nowhere near being sacked, whilst papers and various different media outlets are telling us that X manager and Y manager and Z manager are all in the running to take over the job. But you've got the football club coming out and saying, listen, we're backing him, and you've got rumours that the football club are coming out and saying we're backing him in and he's got our full support going forward. But the club haven't made the statement, the club haven't come out, and for me, said it on Wednesday's live stream, the club need to come out and they need to make a statement. They need to either back him or sack him, and if they're backing him, give us the reasons as to why they're backing him, because what I seen last weekend against Norwich is no reason as to why you would back this manager for any longer. But listen, he's going to be in charge on Sunday. We've got a massive game. We're playing a team that are absolutely fantastic, and a team that at the start of the season I think we'd have looked at ourselves and gone, you know what, you know, it's probably going to be us and Leicester, or maybe us, Leicester and Wolves, who are going to be challenging for those top 6, top 7 places, you know, possibly even challenging for the top 4, whereas now we're looking and we're going, our next step up is Leicester, and I'm really not looking forward to this game, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. The atmosphere is going to be shocking. As soon as something goes wrong, as soon as a mistake is made by any player, you know, the fans are just going to turn on the manager, and the fans are going to turn on the team, and you know what Everton are like when the back's against the walls. We just absolutely crumble. We're like a wet tissue. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We've got no backbone whatsoever. We've got no leaders, and we've got no spine. And for me, that could see us, you know, being beaten dangerously at the weekend. And like I said, I'm really not looking forward to it. Leicester have got some absolutely fantastic players. The likes of Jamie Vardy, who is still banging form. No matter how old that fella is, he doesn't lose a yard of pace. He's absolutely fantastic. James Maddison, who I would have loved at Everton Football Club. Such a creative midfield player, a player that we massively need. Now, a player that Gylfi Sigurdsson should be watching and going, I need to be a bit more like him. Player like Yuri Tielemans, who I would have absolutely loved when he was at Anderlecht. And they've got some real tough midfielders and tough defenders as well. And Didi, who is possibly the best midfielder, arguably one of the best midfielders in the league. So listen, it's going to be a massively tough game for Everton. We need to go out there and I don't know what we need to do, to be honest with you. We need to put out, Marco Silva needs to put out a team that is at least going to make the fans go, you know what, that's a little bit more exciting, that's a little bit more attacking. They still won't back him, they'll still will call for his head, and they'll still be, you know, we'll still be disappointed because he shouldn't be the manager of the club. But he needs to put out a team that, you know, fans are going to be happy with, rather than a team that are just going to sit back, try and defend. Because if we try and defend against the side with the, you know, players the likes of Jamie Vardy and with all his pace, we're just going to get absolutely turned to bits. We really are. And that's why I can't help but feel like he's going to change the defence, and he's going to bring in the players with experience, and he's going to bring in the players that are more used to playing in these type of games. But in terms of the forward players, for me, he simply has to play Alex Iwobi, and he simply has to play Moise Kean. There's no other option. There really isn't. Anyway, that's it for today's that's it for today's game preview. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit the like button. Leave your comments in the comment section down below, because I'll be getting involved with as many of them as possible. Of course, with me being away and not being live, I haven't been able to obviously interact with the comments in today's preview, so leave your comments in the comment section down below, and I'll be trying to reply to as many of them as possible. I'm not looking forward to the game. I'm really not. I'm not confident whatsoever, but it is what it is. Marco Silva's going to be managing it, and you know, we have to play it and we have to get over it, don't we? So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're not enjoying the live, if you're not enjoying the content, sorry, please do. But if you're enjoying the live streams as well, but if you're enjoying all the content, please do hit that subscribe button. If you're new as well, it means a massive amount to me. The subscribers, the support recently has been absolutely overwhelming. So big thanks to everybody who has watched, who has subscribed, who has followed us on Twitter as well. I'll be back home on Sunday for the game, so don't forget to check out our instant match reaction. It might be as emotional as last week's, it might be a little bit positive, who knows, we never know with Everton Football Club, do we? But don't forget to check that one out. A big thanks to everybody for watching. Please do hit that like button if you have enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new as well, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.